The sun rose over Colchis, painting the sky in gold and pink, casting a deceptive beauty across the restless sea. But for the Argonauts, the dawn brought no comfort, only a deep, gnawing dread that settled in their bones. They had survived monsters and storms, braved the wrath of Poseidon and the howling winds, but now faced their greatest challenge. King Aietes, a ruler as merciless as the sea itself, and the fabled Golden Fleece, locked away in a shadowed temple. The coastline loomed, dark and unfamiliar, shrouded in mist and mystery, as if warning them to turn back. The crew whispered anxiously about the king's cruelty, the sleepless dragon that never left its post, and the countless men who had failed before them. Jason stood at the prow, hiding his fear behind a mask of resolve, his eyes fixed on the distant shore. He knew he must inspire courage, even as doubt gnawed at his heart. The men gathered, haunted by memories of lost friends, the perils they had faced, and the dangers that still awaited them. The promise of glory felt distant. The shining city and the rewards of home seemed like fading dreams. The reality was stark and terrifying, every shadow on the shore a possible threat, every sound a warning. Jason addressed his crew. "We've come too far to turn back. We are Argonauts, the finest heroes of Greece. We will face Aietes and claim our prize. Our names will be remembered for ages." His words rallied them, sparking a fragile hope in their hearts, and for a moment, fear gave way to determination. But a heavy sense of foreboding lingered like a storm waiting to break. The silence was broken only by the lapping waves, the creak of wood, and the distant cry of seabirds. The heroes steeled themselves for what was to come, checking their weapons and armor, each movement heavy with anticipation. They were united, for better or worse, on the edge of destiny, bound by oath and by the trials they had already endured. The morning air was thick with tension, every breath heavy with the weight of what lay ahead. Each man thought of home, of loved ones left behind, wondering if he'd ever see familiar shores again. The land of Colchis seemed to watch them, silent and menacing. Jason's resolve was tested with every passing moment, but he would not falter, not now, not with so much at stake. The Argonauts prepared for the unknown, knowing the gods were watching, their fate hanging in the balance. The quest for the Golden Fleece had reached its final perilous stage, and every man felt the weight of legend pressing upon him. The heroes braced themselves, hearts pounding as the sun climbed higher, illuminating the path to their fate. The fate of their journey would soon be decided, and every heartbeat echoed with anticipation. The Argo creaked in the gentle current, a fragile hope in hostile waters, its crew clinging to courage as their only shield. The dawn of their greatest trial had arrived, and there was no turning back. All eyes turned to Jason, awaiting his lead as the fate of heroes and legends hung in the morning air. High above the mortal world, on the mist-shrouded heights of Mount Olympus, the gods gazed down upon the Argonauts' desperate struggle. The air was thick with tension as the immortals watched the heroes face impossible odds, their fate hanging by a thread. Hera, ever watchful and protective of Jason, saw the fear in the Argonauts' eyes. She understood that without divine intervention, their quest for the Golden Fleece would surely end in failure. Turning to wise Athena, Hera spoke urgently. "Aietes is too powerful. His magic and armies are beyond mortal strength. We must intervene, or all will be lost." Athena nodded, her eyes sharp with cunning. "Brute force won't win the fleece," she replied. "We need a different weapon, one that strikes at the heart, not the sword." Their thoughts turned to Medea, the enigmatic daughter of Aietes. Gifted in sorcery and privy to her father's secrets, she alone could tip the scales in Jason's favor. If Medea helps Jason, he might succeed, Hera mused, her mind racing with possibilities. But how can we win her loyalty? Athena voiced her doubts, questioning whether Medea would betray her own blood. Hera, however, was resolute. Love can be stronger than blood. If her heart is swayed, she will choose Jason. So the goddesses devised a daring plan, to make Medea fall hopelessly in love with Jason, binding her fate to his. It was a dangerous game, meddling with mortal hearts, but Hera and Athena were determined to see it through, no matter the risk. To ensure their scheme's success, they would need the help of Aphrodite, goddess of love, and her mischievous son, Eros, whose arrows could ignite passion in any heart. The fate of the entire quest would now hinge on a single mortal heart, and the power of love itself. With the god's scheme set in motion, the winds of destiny began to shift across the land. Hera and Athena prepared to approach Aphrodite, knowing her powers could change the course of history. In Colchis, the balance of power was about to shift, as unseen forces gathered and destinies intertwined. The Argonauts' hope now rested not just on their courage, but on the will of the gods and the unpredictable force of love. The gods would use love as their secret weapon, weaving it into the very fabric of fate. The stage was set for a fateful encounter that would echo through legend for centuries to come. Hera and Athena found Aphrodite in her fragrant sunlit chambers, where the air shimmered with the scent of roses and myrrh. With urgency in their voices, Hera pleaded, "Aphrodite, help us save Jason. Make Medea fall in love with him, for only your power can sway her heart." Aphrodite, intrigued by the challenge and the drama of mortal affairs, agreed, especially after Hera offered a dazzling golden necklace, a treasure fit for the goddess of love herself. "I'll ask Eros," she said, her voice both playful and resigned, "but he's not always obedient, and his arrows often cause more trouble than intended." Aphrodite found Eros playing in the gardens, chasing butterflies and laughing among the flowers. She knelt beside him and explained the task. Shoot Medea with an arrow of irresistible love for Jason so their fates entwine. Eros grinned, delighted by the prospect of mischief and the chance to meddle in the affairs of mortals and gods alike. He promised to do as his mother asked, eager to stir chaos in Colchis and see what new stories would unfold from his actions. With a twinkle in his eye and a heart full of playful intent, Eros readied his bow, his fingers brushing the golden string. The god's plan was in motion, and the fate of the Argonauts now rested on a single arrow, one that could change the course of history. Aphrodite watched from her balcony, knowing that love's power could alter destinies, topple kings, and spark wars or peace. The gods had chosen their champion, and their pawn. The Council of Olympus held its breath, waiting for the outcome. Eros took flight, invisible to mortals, his wings glinting in the sunlight as he soared above the city, his arrow aimed at Medea's heart. The outcome of the quest would soon be decided by love, a force as unpredictable as the sea itself. The world of mortals and gods was about to collide, and the air was thick with anticipation and the promise of change. The Argonauts' greatest hope was now a matter of the heart, their fate hanging on the whims of divine love. All eyes turned to Colchis, awaiting the spark that would ignite the legend and forever change the tale of Jason and Medea. Jason and his bravest companions left the Argo, shrouded in a magical mist sent by Hera. The fog hid them from Colchian eyes as they moved silently through the city. The heroes felt the gods' protection, their confidence renewed. As they neared the palace, the mist lifted, revealing them in the open courtyard. At that moment Medea appeared in the gardens, drawn by a strange restlessness. Her eyes met Jason's, and Eros, unseen, loosed his arrow. Medea's heart blazed with sudden, overwhelming love for the Greek hero. The spell was cast. Medea was now Jason's greatest ally. The god's plan had worked perfectly. The fate of the quest had shifted in a heartbeat. Jason's hope was reborn in the eyes of the king's daughter. Medea, enchanted, welcomed Jason and his companions into the palace. The Argonauts marveled at the wealth and beauty, bronze walls, magical fountains, and golden thrones. King Aietes appeared, regal and suspicious, his gaze cold. He demanded to know their purpose in Colchis. The Argonauts were treated as honored guests, but Jason sensed danger beneath the hospitality. The feast was grand, but every bite tasted of peril. The king's true intentions remained hidden behind a mask of courtesy. After the feast, Jason rose to speak, his voice steady but humble. "Great King Aietes, I am Jason of Iolcos. My companions and I seek the Golden Fleece, not for theft, but to reclaim my stolen throne." He explained his quest as one of justice, not greed, and offered service and gratitude in exchange for the fleece. "We ask for your help, not your enmity. Grant us the fleece and your name will be honored in Greece." The hall fell silent as Jason finished. For a moment hope flickered that peace might be possible. But Aietes' face darkened, his anger barely contained. The king's hospitality was over, his true nature would soon be revealed. The Argonauts braced for his response. The fate of their quest hung in the balance. Jason's plea had been made. Now, only the king's will mattered. Tension filled the hall as Aietes prepared to answer. King Aietes erupted in fury at Jason's request. "You dare ask for my sacred treasure? You Greeks are known for trickery, not honor." He accused them of being thieves and threatened their lives. But instead of execution, Aietes devised a cruel test. "If you are truly heroes, prove it. Tomorrow yoke the fire-breathing bulls, plow the field of Ares, and sow dragon's teeth. Defeat the warriors that rise, and then I'll consider your request." The Argonauts were horrified. The tasks were impossible. Aietes relished their fear, certain they would fail. The challenge was a death sentence in disguise. The king's hospitality had turned to malice. Jason and his men faced doom at dawn. The court watched, silent and tense. The fate of the Argonauts would be decided by the impossible. The night ahead would be long and restless. The king's challenge left the Argonauts in despair. Yoking fire-breathing bulls and fighting earth-born warriors seemed hopeless. Jason, though terrified, accepted the terms. He could not back down. His companions were ready to fight and die with him, but Jason silenced them. "I accept your challenge, King Aietes," he declared, masking his fear with resolve. Aietes laughed, certain of their doom, and sent them back to the Argo. The heroes returned to their ship, the weight of the impossible pressing down. The palace's splendor now felt like a cruel mockery. The Argonauts faced their darkest hour. The quest for the Golden Fleece seemed lost. Only a miracle could save them now. The night was filled with dread and uncertainty. Jason's courage would soon be tested beyond all limits. That night, the Argo was silent. The heroes lost in anxious thought. Every plan seemed useless against the king's magic. Jason felt the crushing burden of leadership, haunted by the prospect of failure. But in the palace, Medea was restless, her heart burning with love for Jason. She knew the secrets to surviving the king's deadly tasks. Her love warred with her loyalty to her father. On the Argo, Argus whispered to Jason, "Medea is a powerful sorceress. Perhaps she will help." The idea seemed desperate, but it was their only hope. The gods' plan was unfolding. As dawn approached, Jason clung to this fragile chance. The fate of the Argonauts now rested on Medea's heart. The darkest night was ending, and hope, however faint, remained. The heroes prepared for the trial ahead, uncertain but not yet defeated. The quest for the Golden Fleece was not over yet.